Hey everyone, I'm Steve with South of Sanity Farms. Before you buy your first goat, it's important to have a good setup. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you some things to think about based on our experience raising our dairy goats, and hopefully it'll get you set up for success. So for us, it's important, we have one central milking area on our farm, and so I need to be able to rotate all my goats around that, but also in the springtime and early summer when they have kids that we need to separate, that we can easily pull out the moms and put them in a small pen so that we can milk them in the morning and put them back with the herd throughout the day, and then we just do that again. If you don't have a good setup, it makes it a lot of work, a lot of aggravation and frustration, and that can really take the joy out of it, and it can cause you to get burned out and just fed up with it, and you just quit altogether. So I'd encourage you to think about your particular farm or house and your land situation, and how can you make it as convenient as possible to be able to do that. And again, we have 6 areas that we rotate our goats between. And so this is one that's about 3/4 of an acre that they're in right now. We'll keep them in here for 2 or 3 weeks. And it all depends on the season, and are we getting rain? Is grass growing? Right now we're in a dry spell. But the grass, we've let this area rest for a while. So this is the best area that we have to put them in now. But they'll be in here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll rotate them around. And so that way, ideally, if you can let land rest for 2 months, it's gonna help with your parasite management, and just letting that, it's gonna be healthier for your land altogether, just letting it rest, letting whatever parasites they did shed, hopefully they'll run through their cycle without any host and they'll pass away. And so by the time you move them back around 2 or 3 months later, to an area that hasn't been grazed, that's going to be your best bet for managing and controlling parasites in your herd, and just keeping your goats healthy. You know, and then with your layout too, something to consider as far as making it easy is having a easy way to drag a hose or to get water and food to them, where you can get clean water every day. That makes, you know, life so much easier when you don't have to, you know, hook up 5 hose pipes to get it somewhere. So, and that's the way our setup is now. I've got one hose pipe that I can stretch around to all the different locations that rotate around our milking area, and it works for us, and it's been a pretty simple process doing that. You know, and another thing is like shelter. For us, this is the only pen that they have that doesn't have shelter in it. And again, we're in a dry spell. We're not expecting rain for at least another couple of weeks. And we haven't had rain in a couple of weeks. So, but at least my goats, maybe I baby them too much, but they absolutely hate getting rained on. And so anything that you can do to minimize the stress of the goat's gonna overall help it with its health. You know, and so if it's gonna storm or something, I would move them out of this pasture and put them somewhere where they can, you know, get out of the rain. And then in the winter months, when it gets a little bit colder, the next place that we'll rotate them down to actually has access to a barn stall, and it protects them really well from the wind, obviously the rain, and we can, if we need to, we can put heat lamps in there, and that'll keep them warm and dry and just protected from, you know, the elements. You know, and then the last thing as far as your setup is your fencing. I know some people that run the electric fencing, either like 4 or 5 strands. Some people use the electric netting, and those both work, you know, really good. For us, we use field fencing, and then we run a single top strand of barbed wire on our perimeter. And, you know, I know a lot of people say goats are escape artists. In the 10 years, I have never had a goat get out of that. Sometimes they'll put their feet up on the fence, but the barbed wire kind of deters them from doing that. You know, and that's what works best for us. Again, for those of you that don't know, we have 4 Airbnbs on our farm, and so we have a constant flow of people coming onto our farm. Many of them have little kids, and so just from a safety standpoint, like, I don't want some kid that's never been around electric fencing to just go up and grab a hot wire. You know, and so that's one of the reasons that we stick with the field fencing. You know, and again, we've had great success with it, and we've just never had an issue. It's easy to repair if a tree falls on it or anything, and it works for us. But again, I know a lot of people that use electric netting. or the 3 or 4 strand hot wire, and they have good success with that. But whatever you do, just make sure, one, that it's good enough to keep your goats in, but it's also good enough to keep any predators like neighbors' dogs, depending on what part of the country you're in, whether it's foxes or coyotes or bears or bobcats or mountain lions. Whatever your predator is, make sure you have fencing that's adequate for that. And another thing, we don't necessarily deal with it because, again, having the fence that we have set up, it's going to keep any dog or anything like that out. It's really any predator that we deal with here in central Alabama. I mean, there's an occasional black bear sighting and some bobcats, but we've been here for 6 years, but we've been raising goats for 10 from our other place, and it's just something that we've never had an issue with. So having this field fencing with a barbed wire, it's good enough for our area. But again, if you've got some other predators that we don't deal with, something to think about and consider. Well, we hope this information was helpful to you. And if you want to see the full detailed video of our goat operation, be sure to click this video here. And thanks for watching.